Joe is also part of the talk today. He's a master gardener.
That's all right.
Joe
Is this thing working?
gardener for many years, and he just got a certificate of outstanding recognition.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
The Rain Barrel Talk is brought to you in cooperation with the Montgomery County Department of Environmental Protection. They offer make and take rain barrel workshops, which there is one coming up, I understand, at Brookside Gardens. That's in early April. So anyway, we'll start from the beginning. What is a rain barrel? Well, a rain barrel or rain barrels are a system to collect and reuse rainwater that would otherwise be lost to runoff and go into our streams, creeks, and eventually into the Chesapeake Bay. A rain barrel is pretty easy to make, and it's pretty inexpensive. It can cost under $20 to make one yourself. But before I get into that, a little bit of background about why stormwater runoff is not good. What happens when stormwater runs off of impervious surfaces such as driveways and sidewalks and rooftops? Well, all of this runoff results in pollution that goes into the streams, and then again, like I said, it empties into the bay. An increase in impervious surfaces in urban areas will cause increased runoff, and that carries pollutants such as fertilizers, pesticides, and roadway contaminants such as oil, salt, car emissions, that kind of stuff. When the stormwater can't soak into the ground because of all the hard surface, then there's reduced groundwater recharge. This results in the base flow of streams being lower, but yet when we have storms, these same streams will tend to flood a lot easier. The flooding will cause erosion in the stream banks, and that results in sediment and a lot of damage to the aquatic life that lives in those streams. So as areas become more urbanized, there is an increasing amount of this impervious surface. Impervious surface is any hard surface that keeps water from infiltrating and absorbing into the ground. Like I said before, it would be rooftops, driveways, sidewalks. Those are the types of surfaces that the water just flows right off of. And here we have some pictures of stream erosion. This is due to runoff and poor buffer zones, which is, let me see what I can do. The area along the streams there that's left in its natural state, that helps protect the streams. This erosion can also result in exposing infrastructure such as pipes that are buried underneath there, and that makes them more susceptible to damage. So what we want to do is get the streams healthy, in good shape again. And what can we do to do that? A few things. We can reduce that runoff volume. We can reduce pollutants from our neighborhood, and we can do that by using less fertilizer and using pesticides and herbicides only when absolutely necessary. We can replace concrete and asphalt driveways with pervious pavers that allows water to soak through them when it rains, and that'll help recharge groundwater. And conserve water by using rain barrels that collects and stores the water for you. Another way to conserve water is planting native plants because they tend to be much more drought tolerant and they need less water. So some of the techniques to go ahead and help eliminate runoff are downspout diversion, which is simply diverting the water away from your house and to an area where it can be absorbed into the ground. Rain barrels and cisterns that collect and store the water. Rain gardens are also a really good way to help prevent runoff. That's usually an area that will tend to flood in rain, and you amend the soil by adding a mixture of compost, sand, and topsoil and working it in, and then planting deep-rooted plants, native plants, that will tolerate being wet for a short time after a storm, but will also tolerate periods of dryness. So it's an area that really can kind of take care of itself. Replace our impervious driveways and sidewalks and everything with permeable pavers that will allow the water into the ground. And another thing is, I have up there soil reconditioning and amendment. Over a period of time, soil can become very compacted, and it makes it very hard for plants or grass to grow on it, and it also makes it very hard for water to be absorbed into it. So one way to work with that is to aerate the soil and work compost into it, making it a lot more permeable, loosening it up a lot, and makes it easier for plants to grow there and for water to be absorbed. And again, native plants are a great way to help conserve water. This is an example, cute, of downspout diversion. It's simply adding a flexible tubing to the downspout to direct the water away from the foundation of the house and out to an area where it can be infiltrated. But it's a pretty simple, basic technique. You just want to make sure that the land around the house slopes away from the house so water's not running back into it, and not let the hose drain onto a driveway or a sidewalk, because again, you're bringing back the issue of stormwater runoff. Direct it into grassy area, garden area, something like that. Here's some examples of different types of rain barrels. They all do the same thing. They all collect water coming from the downspouts. And if you'll notice, they're on raised, elevated cinder blocks or bricks. That's to help provide stability and also make it easier to get to the spigot down at the bottom.